Hey everyone, this is Nitro. So, the April 30th, 2020 update has released the Trails in Time second chapter. And along with it, there's several other additions, which I'm going to show as soon as I log in. Alright, so there are three, new events with this update. The first, of course, is what you see here. The Leonhardt and Renne Rise of the Enforcers Limited Time Summon. So this is a Trails in the Sky collaboration banner. The second part is, of course, the event, Trails in Time second chapter. And then the third part is a Big Bro Gamble with Clarette's skin, as expected. So let's jump into the event section and go over these one by one. Right? I'll start by covering the banner, Rise of the Enforcers. Okay, so in brief, Leonhardt and Renne are both very good characters, and Renne is more PvE focused. Okay, she is an amazing damage dealer, part of the Yelas Legends and Dark factions, and I, for example, used her in a few of my clears as an extra damage dealer. I'll have, a link to an example video of her in the video description below, where I used her as a damage dealer. But basically, the key point of Renne in PvE content is Renne Annihilation, where she does 1.3 times damage, but more importantly, if the enemy has 3 or more debuff statuses, this attack reduces the enemy's match defense by 100% and the enemy cannot counter. So you're going to do incredible damage since the enemy's match defense is reduced to 0, and it's very easy to set up. Simply have, let's say, Bozel toss out an Earthquake, and then you can use Renne Annihilation at that point. As for the other hero, so that would be her primary purpose. She's great, again, for example, in the Phoenix battle, in any battle where you need DPS, and although the big limitation is you really should have her at high star levels. So I use her at 4 stars, and she still does okay. But at 5 and 6 stars, the more intelligence she has, the more damage she deals. So that's Renne in a nutshell. Next up would be Leonhardt. And Leonhardt, by comparison, he used to be a dominating force in PvP, okay? Apex Arena. Now he is significantly less so. It used to be that Leonhardt bringing instant transfer, then launching out Fusion Dark Emperor Sword and Ethereal Fire Machete can usually wipe out the enemy healers, basically ending the fight. Because if he kills 2 or more characters, game over, right? But since then, people have increased their stats with class enchants, with better SSR enchant rolls, and now Leonhardt rarely ever gets to kill off anyone with double AoE, or triple AoE, if you consider the Sword's Breath AoE as well, right? So nowadays, Leonhardt has more or less been relegated to buff removal and juggler assassination role. So what that means is, in order to use Leonhardt in these kind of situations, you've replaced Ethereal Fire Machete generally with Air Slash. Okay, that's the first change. So his skills are now Fusion Dark Emperor Sword, Instant Transfer, and Air Slash. The second requirement is actually a certain piece of equipment, and you 100% need him to have the weapon Demon Slayer, which I actually don't have a copy of. Demon Slayer increases attack and skill, and when an attack results in a crit, you dispel 1 enemy buff and apply 1 debuff to the enemy. So because Leonhardt with his AoE attack also has Sword Breath via the instant transfer, you're doing 2 AoE strikes. Each of these can potentially dispel a buff and add a debuff to the enemy. And with that, you could dispel the enemy juggler's buff of being in water, and then you easily follow that up with an Air Slash to finish off juggler, assuming he's out of water, right? If he keeps the water buff, then you won't be able to kill, but you can still, get rid of 2 buffs, and then rather than attack with Air Slash, you can retreat back to maybe your tank's guard range, which is a very viable option with Leonhardt that can act again. Of course, to use Leonhardt properly, he absolutely has to be 6 stars, and that's a huge limiting factor, right? Because without having his Act Again effect, having a 2-turn cooldown, Leonhardt truly isn't recommended. Furthermore, other than that battle, Leonhardt is also surprisingly effective in Ancient Beckoning, specifically the Jormungandr battle. Okay, so in the Jormungandr battle, let's click on the boss details. Leonhardt basically, because at 6 stars, he can be within 2 blocks of the end of allies and still get the stat buff. He can be a really, really good damage dealer in this fight. And so, in that kind of situation, he is basically just literally another damage deal you bring, and skills-wise, he would probably bring, for example, Air Slash, Sun Slash, and probably something like Deathmatch for increased attack and skill. With that said though, for that particular fight, I believe there are certain issues. Okay? First of all, you have to grind him to 6 stars. Without being at 6 stars, his talent does not trigger. Right? So he doesn't get the 20% extra attack and so on for himself and for his soldiers. So that's a huge flaw right there. The other issue with the Jormungandr battle using Leonhardt is that, from what I remember, for this particular fight, there's better characters. Like, in particular, Kirikaze, for example, is a superior damage dealer and healer. But you can see quite a few top players on Rocky Valley do use Leonhardt. Like Kira, with 7.8 million damage, has Leonhardt in his party. But the top 2 do not. You know? So, while he is usable, he's not absolutely a must bring. And because you need to have him at 6 stars to use him, it's a pretty big limitation. Like in my case, I did use my Leonhardt for the Jormungandr battle, but my Leonhardt is only 5 stars, and as a result, my damage compared to the top people in Ancient Beckoning is significantly lower. Right? So, but nonetheless, it just shows that despite everything, Leonhardt is good for both PvP and PvE. You know? So you can see here that Leonhardt is in my party. I have 5 million damage as opposed to 7.8 million or whatever of the higher ranking players. So that's the 2 characters covered in a nutshell. Okay? If you want to refer to my Jormungandr battle, you can, but be warned that those videos are very, very long. So after that is that there is the Trails in Time 2nd chapter event for SR hero Olivier and various other things. So this event, surprisingly and very unexpectedly, is released now when it should have been released last week, right? If it was released last week, it would have run for 2 weeks, and then it would have ended on Wednesday, May the 6th. And then Wednesday, May the 7th would be the Record of Lodoss War banner. Right? So that would have been a very smooth transition. While you could still continue to do exchanges, the event would have ended. This time around though, the event is ending on the 13th. So presumably, so that's just interesting. I mean, what I'm guessing is going to happen is we're still going to get Record of Lodoss War next week because, Fireworks Festival, last day of exchange is the 6th. So on the 7th, Fireworks Festival gets replaced by the Record of Lodoss War event, but we're gonna have 2 events pretty much running at the same time. So you're going to have to get Trails in Time 2nd chapter done fast, and then start the next event after that. So fortunately for Trails in Time 2nd chapter, I mean, it's just grinding the battles, and it shouldn't be a difficult event. We did this event last summer, right? Trails in Time 2nd chapter. So it was. So we had basically had a year to grind up our characters, so it should be super easy as a result, right? Just nothing should be difficult about this at all. It's to the point where I probably won't create any new videos, unless they were videos where I could clear the battle significantly faster, which I find pretty unlikely. So if you want to refer to the older videos, you know, either look up Trails in Time second chapter, or you know, go to my limited time event playlist, because they're all listed there, all those battles. And then the third event is of course the Big Bros Gamble, where you get a week to gamble for, as usual, these items. So as always, the chances of drawing for the top level items is much lower than the bottom level ones. I would guess there's something like, you know, a 1 or 2% chance of dropping the top level items, whereas the bottom ones have a much higher percent chance. My guess, this is a guess mind you, is my personal guess is like the bottom 4 items is something like, let's say 70%. These next 3 are something like 25%, and then maybe these ones are like 3% chance, and then 2% chance or something like that, you know. So remaining items is like a 5% chance of these top 3. This is just a rough estimate or a guess. So, but you can just see from that how unlikely you are to get the top level items early on. So, but nonetheless, the skin is gorgeous, right? Claret skin. Even the sprite is gorgeous, right? The skin itself is amazing, but the sprite is also cute. So it's a skin that is very, very tempting to get, right? And I'm not sure I'm willing to spend the 4K crystals to get the skin, in large part because I don't even use clarets. You know, if I had claret built, that skin is pretty much 100% must get. But in my case, my claret is 3 stars, and I don't see myself grinding her up at all. You know, so as a result, unfortunately, I'm probably going to pass on the skin. But I am going to do my gambles on the Big Bro Gamble now. So here we go. So let's get the free item. And I got Star Coin for some gold. Okay, that's pretty good. It's the bottom items, as expected. So next, sword. This one is pretty much garbage. Then hammers. Next, staff. Valor Crest. So far, as expected, bottom items. So most likely, I'm going to continue to get... I usually stop as soon as I get a decent item. So now I got Holy Grail. So friendship vouchers. Right, so that's the bottom 4 items so far. And the next purchase is 300 crystals. And as always, I'm hoping to get... Not that. I'm hoping to get the skin vouchers. So Orichalcum ore, 300 crystals for that. A little bit expensive. We're getting to 400 now for Star, which is the 3 Trinity vouchers. So 500 will finally be one of the good items. And that's where I'm going to stop. Right? Because after the 500 purchase is 600, 800, and 1000. So spending up to 500 is still kind of acceptable. It's not ideal, but it's acceptable. But then keep in mind, the remaining purchases is 2400 crystals. Okay, so purchasing up to 500 so far has spent what? 1550 crystals, I think. Yeah, 1550 crystals is what I spent right now. And in the last 3 purchases, 2400. So it's a huge jump for those last 3 items. So I'm gonna buy this 500 one. And I got Queen, which is, oh, the skin! Was not what I was looking for. But I got the skin. Okay. So I guess I'll quit here. Like, I mean, 40 skin vouchers is nice to get, but at the same time, 600 crystals for 400 skin vouchers? It's really getting expensive. You know? And there is also the chance of me getting, let's say, the runestone or the accessory. Oh, I don't know. But on the flip side, the thing is, I am actually pretty desperate for skin vouchers. If I get it, because I'm assuming the Tiara skin is going to use up a lot of those. Right? I have 260 saved up, which is enough for, I think, 1 skin. But I plan to get 2 skins in the next few weeks, right? The first skin I plan to get is, of course, the Tiara skin when it's released. But the second skin I plan to get is the Season 3 winner skin, which is a Yulia skin. So you know what? What the heck? I can afford it. I have this many crystals. Let's just buy one. Power. Skin vouchers. Good. So that wasn't too bad. So I got the ones I wanted. You know, I'm going to give up on the accessory. I'm going to give up on the runestone, of course. And I'm happy with everything I got. Because hooray for the very unexpected Claret skin that I actually didn't plan on drawing for, but I got. So let's equip her up. You know, make Claret all pretty and everything. And it's just a shame that I don't use her because so pretty. So very, very pretty here.
戦術ってよくわからないわね。少し気分転換に体を動かせばなんとかなるわよね。
There we go. So that's it for this video. Thanks for watching, everyone. I hope you found this information useful to you. Oh, I actually should talk about Olivier. Should not have neglected him. So I'll quickly go over Olivier. You can get him up to 5 stars from the event. So it's pretty much 150 shards, right? So with the event, you can get him up to 6 stars for sure. So that I'm definitely going to do that. And Olivier is very much used for the Sleipnir battle in Ancient Beckoning. I think everybody uses him for the Sleipnir battle who gets the high score pretty much. So the fact that his event is running again is incredibly useful. Bringing that up quickly. I keep forgetting where it's located. Here we are. So, you know, Sleipnir battle, right? Iris and Olivier. Iris, Olivier, you know. Iris, Olivier. Even me at rank 31 uses Iris and Olivier. So it just shows that basically everybody is using Iris and Olivier for this fight. You know. My rank here is 4.57 million damage. In large part, that's because I haven't redone it. I could definitely raise my score much, much higher than my past score. The reason it's so low is because I have not done this fight for a very, very long time. Last time I did a battle, I think, was before we got the class mastery enchants. So, and back then, my score was rank 15th. So if I was really interested in increasing my rank score, which I'm not, but if I was, I could probably get myself all the way back up. Maybe even into the top 10 or whatever. But that is just whether you have the interest to commit the time to doing it. And right now, I definitely don't. You know, like looking at the parties that most people run, you know, I use these last 5. The only character that I may not use is Ulte Muller. But as we see here, for example, the very top score player doesn't use Ulte Muller. He uses Elwyn. The key point for this fight is that your character, your last character, as a damage dealer, really needs to be able to attack and retreat. So if you were to use Elwyn or Ulte Muller or whoever, instead of bringing, let's say, a Slayer's Emblem, they absolutely have to bring Spirit Boots, right? And I do have 2 pairs of them, but I don't have them leveled up. And I'm not interested in leveling one up to level 50 just for that fight at this time. So there we go. Thanks for watching, everyone. I hope you found this video useful. And on that note, Nitro out.